Thanks for staying with us. So a few days ago, many Nigerians took to social media to share their unpleasant personal encounters with issues concerning pastors, concerning the Church of Winners Chapel. And there was a letter that trended online that he was allegedly sacked. Now, from the letter, he was sacked for not meeting certain obligations. But verbally, he said that he was told by some sources, some unidentified sources, that, oh, it's because he didn't meet certain financial expectations. And of course, many people started posting other posts concerning, oh, it was not only this guy, the other 36 somewhere, there's 47 in other places. As usual, we don't like focusing on the story itself because really it's not our business. But we want to talk about the issue of, number one, taking matters to social media on this issue with the pastor. Was it right for a pastor to take the matter to social media? Secondly, is it right for a church or a religious body or a mosque, let's even add mosque to it, for a mosque to sack a shepherd, maybe a pastor or an imam, right? And are religious organizations being run as businesses? I mean, those are the questions Nigerians are asking. And the conversation has started over the weekend. And we'd like to hear your thoughts on it. You can call us on 0812752 53687. You can also call us on 0913-9076948. You can send your messages on YouTube and on Facebook. We'll be happy to read your messages. Okay, so Obiajulu, would you like to start today? What are your thoughts, first on the matter and then generally speaking on this?
Okay, so when I saw what happened, I saw the fact that the pastor came on social media and narrated his experiences, showed the letter and everything. I was like, shouldn't you have taken this matter to God on your knees? Because aside from the fact that the church is an organization that is run physically, it's also a spiritual organization. And the bishop could have done what he did because he was running an institution. We will say it's spiritual and everything, but we don't use money to buy fuel. We don't use water to buy fuel. We are still operating in the world, and certain things must be put in place, especially for a church that has gotten to that level. There are certain steps that the bishops take from time to time to sanitize the system, to make sure that everybody is effective. Nobody would like to keep a worker who isn't performing, whether it's spiritually or financially. And also, it's one side of the story. So we heard from the end result, okay, final sack. But we don't know how long they would have had conversations. We don't know how long they would have given him a time frame to sort himself out. We don't know how long they would have sanctioned him. We don't know if he had gotten queries from time to time. We don't understand this thing. But I believe that a church is an organization, and it needs money to function. So as a full-time pastor, you're not working in an organization. So there are some pastors that have a job, a day job, and then come and pastor. But there are other pastors that have been employed by the church to work full-time. That means they are earning, they are earning from the proceeds that they make. So if you get to a place and you're not making that much, and other people support you and carry you for, you have a time frame to either sit up or you are sacked. Because I wanted to give an example with the scriptures when God cursed a fig tree for not producing. That fig tree was not in his season. It wasn't in his season. But he received the curse because he did not produce. So sometimes we don't understand some spiritual things.
All right, so if you want to look at it in context, though, what is produced in the things of God? Is it money? Is it the souls?
A lot.
What is produced? Let me come to
and I think that is the main issue why lots of people are talking. Because when we talk about church, every time we have spoken about church, many people, when we want to criticize church for anything, many people say, touch not my anointed. This is the Holy Ghost. This is the church. So, of course, you now assume that everything concerning church is based on God and God alone. No money involved. So what people are saying is one soul not much more important? If this pastor is able to save only one soul, the impact of that one soul isn't that enough to cover for any financial shortcomings that he may have? Really? Isn't the sole purpose of having a pastor to win souls? So if he's doing it in a rundown place, they're not able to put monies together, or he's just winning souls of people who are not financially able to, carry to pay the rent and pay for fuel, but you are winning souls, and that's what Nigerians are asking. They're asking that because many Nigerians have said, churches seem to be run as a business. Shouldn't churches be paying taxes? And people are like, no, don't even go there. This is church. So if this is church, why is it then now we are seeing that it is being run as a business? Monies are expected to come from it. A pastor is given a target like a banker, and he's made to, to be able to pay for things that are run. I don't even understand that part where you must pay money to run a business. But then the church now, the conversation is that the church now needs to accept that it is a business. The spiritual angle for me is really the personal angle. Many people get to church because, they're on this journey with God, they found God, and then you go there and you receive, the word spiritually, and you grow. But then you start to hear about the politics of church when that person decides, okay, apart from just sitting here and just receiving the message, I want to be part of the church. I want to be a worker. And then you start hearing people talking about the politics of church. Then when the person has now become a worker and he's now like the head of something, the pastor, you now start hearing about the business of church. Now the church needs to understand that it is like the Trinity too. Spiritual, political, and business. They say give to Caesar what is Caesar. So when you need to pay tax,
Jesus said that.
Oh, interesting. I like that. That's interesting.
Okay, you want to go
Nima, let me hear your thoughts on this.
Okay, so religious houses, let me not just use...
Don't use your own.
Religious houses are supposed to be run based on charity. So we sack imams. We have... When I was growing up, there was a dawah board, so that the imam does not just go out and give a sermon. My father was deputy imam too in the dawah board at the time, and they were supposed to vet anything that's supposed to be a knowledge thing that the imam was saying. So if he makes a mistake, you see the dawah board will call back, and then there will be a sermon. And any misconduct, because the monies for which the imam's salary, house maintenance, and all of that is paid is collected collectively from the Muslim community. That's how it's done. And that's why taxing religious houses is something government left for a long time. But where we are now, the CAC must be allowed to regulate religion. Where we are now. And because it falls so largely on one side, doesn't matter. There are now more businesses than, more religion. We'll have a situation where one person sits for a number of years, for too long, till he is the alpha and omega of that religious house. He controls the finances that are collected still from people's charity collectively. He controls where they are invested, and when the profits are taken, he's also controlling. So I wanted to argue with the fact that they could sack if he's supposed to generate funds enough to pay his rent for the hall use and house and all of that, and he's not generating. But because if he is not generating in place A, this money, the excess generated from place B, can still be used such that it is
if you're running a church that is very successful, let them be the ones to support. Yes. But the truth is that, do we have pastors today? I have a caller in one second. Okay. Do we have leaders of churches, pastors, imams today, who are ready to sell for free? Don't pay me. Because if we want to go with the spiritual argument, that listen, this is a thing of God, let us don't bring money, it's not a business. No problem. All of you work for free now. Do your own private business and do it on it. But because you are being paid.
Do you want to take your call?
I'll take your call then. I'll take the call. I think EBENEZER, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yes, a first-time caller. But
welcome to the show.
Thank you. All right, what I have to say is that when Jesus Christ even sent some of the disciples, he said, when I sent you, I didn't give you anything, but yet you did not lack. And if the Bishop Oyedepo, if the ministry or the church did not grow, he wouldn't have even had people to employ. I feel if people are dissatisfied in a particular place, you don't owe the social media. You owe it to God. Yeah. You're working for God. Yeah. You can quietly quit and start your ministry and employ pastors who will not grow the ministry for you, and borrow money and pay them. At the end of the day, you will understand the pain that the person in the hem of affairs is going through. Yes, thank you very much.
Let me land my point and quickly too. So when I say we sack in Islam, it's not for lack of generation of funds. It is for misconduct. Good. So as an imam, you cannot. But it has never been in my lifetime that I've seen that because for lack of funds. And money we are used to maintain a person called is not necessarily salary, because he has a life. He's supposed to have his family. And the duty that you're giving him as head of a church would take all control of his time. So how else does he not get distracted on the job?
Right.
So you have job, members of the whatever religious body that it is, pay their tithes and some sadaka into a purse that can be used for that maintenance.
Right. Okay.
But when the maintenance come past salary in court, there's excess money. Then you now have financial institutions, governments come in and regulate that. You can, and the books must be made open.
Right.
Okay,
Yes,
so this
Bisi.
particular pastor did not say he was sacked because he was not able to bring funds to buy certain things or make profit. So a church does not run for profit. It does not run. That's why they're saying they're not a business, because they don't run for profit. But things can come, blessings can come, and they make money. This particular person, there are different types of pastors. Let me even say that. There are people who are called to do full-time, and there are people who are called to do part-time. That means that they have their personal jobs, they are lawyers, they are bankers, and all of that, and they pastor. So those ones, the church does not necessarily pay them. But you see those ones that they have been designated to do full-time, that means whether he has a certificate or not, he's not working, he's not earning money, and he would have a family, he would have a wife. At least you should be able to run it in such a way that you generate something to sustain you and the church that you're passionate. Not talk about the one you're supposed to pay to headquarters or whatever it is. Just enough for you. So if you are not able to do that, and you talk about winning souls, when you win a soul, it comes with certain benefits. Other church members will be winning their own souls and handling their church, and they are contributing to help you. You should be able to be productive. What I see is a bit of pride. If you are sacked from pastoring, does not mean you have been sacked from Jesus Christ. You go as a church member, humble yourself and serve. You serve. Let another person pastor who will be able to generate enough to run that environment. It's humility. Tomorrow, when they see that you are ready, for that sort of sack, they could have given him something else that he needs to do to upgrade himself, to get better and all of that. When they see that you're ready, they give you another position. Right. It's not for you to come to social media to lament that you have been sacked because you are not generating money. Okay, let me humble yourself and go back as a church member and learn
as a true Christian.
As a true Christian and learn.
Let me come to Namdi. Namdi, are you there? I'll go on a break soon. Oh, we lost that. Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll move on with this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still on this issue that happened in Winners Chapel.
Can I just quickly read this letter?
Go ahead.
Okay.
So it's in the Punch. It says, survey no more, Living Faith Church, say Ashinaya, Benue State, dear Nomo, release letter of release. Consequent upon the recent performance reviews, which revealed that your church growth index falls below expectations. Please be informed that your services as a pastor in charge are no longer required from this commission with immediate effect, and you are to vacate the official accommodation where applicable and hand over all properties of the ministry in your custody.
So what does performance growth index mean?
Yes.
That's not debatable.
Yes.
Well, so if it means that you have not gathered enough people to come to the church, or maybe we expect like at least 20 people to come to your church every Sunday, and you have been able to do that, only 10 of them, then it goes back to my original point. What does it matter? Paul, just one Paul, we know what he has done with the many souls he has brought. So for me, the way the church presents itself and represents itself, it means that just one soul is enough. Now, secondly, if it was you have not, performed so well, the growth index is so bad that we are joining your church with another church, or everyone is moving to another place. So we don't have that particular place anymore for Sunday service.
A cost center.
Good. That's a different thing. And then when you say you leave the premises with immediate effect.
Because they're the parents.
Sounds insensitive.
Human rights, uncle.
They're the parents.
Yes. So that's the thing. It sounded so businesslike. There was no compassion or empathy that we usually expect from the church. And that the tone of that letter was like any letter you get from any other business or any organization. So, and that is what people are questioning, because usually when it comes to the church, when it comes to people even criticizing the church, we are told many times on the words to use and how to use it because of what the church, the purity it represents, the empathy, the sympathy that it represents, but we didn't see it in that letter.
So the tone, hang in there. So the tone obviously is an issue. Let me take this call. Joshua, are you there?
I'm here. Good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I've been trying to keep myself not to comment on this issue, but I'm enjoying the program this morning.
Thank you.
The truth is, I'm trying to ask, where is the place of transfer in these modern churches? When we're growing up, I grew up in Assemblies of God. And I realized that when a pastor is not doing well in a particular church, they transfer him to another church, to another branch. So where is those policies? You know, there are pastors that are good in grooming members, that are good in winning souls, while there are pastors that are good in maintaining a church. I was in a seminar where Pastor Korede Kumaya was telling us how they transferred him from Nigeria to Benin Republic to Botswana to grow a church, in winners. So what I'm saying is, they are really not I'm not in support of the sack as a Christian. And two, if you see he's not doing well here, you can push him out of there and take him somewhere and see his ability. Because before you give somebody responsibility, you would have checked his capacity. One. Then two, when we're growing up, we have this thing. You don't allow, Assemblies of God does not allow headquarters to pay rent for a smaller church. So they do it within their means. If it is what you can afford, do it. We're going to church on Sundays with a liter of fuel.
Right.
One person.
Thank you, Joshua. Let me throw in this angle, because I even want you to address this angle. Because there's an argument that when you say leave everything to God, people are tired of that statement. Because the argument is, this guy shouldn't have gone to social media. But in the mind, who should he go to? So maybe the church might have closed the opportunity for him to be able to take these grievances to. And we now say don't go to social media. My question is, where else could he? Yes, go to God, we know. But if we keep saying go to God, that's what has gotten us to where we are today, where people just hush. We can't challenge the status quo. We can't challenge the pastors. We can't challenge the things of God because, they are things of God. So what could he have done?
So I would have loved that he came out while he was presenting this letter and gave us his employment letter. Gave us what he signed to. Because every organization, every church has its rules, regulations, and expectations. See, you signed up for a job to be paid. So you're working not just for God now, but you're working for this particular organization, and from there you're getting proceeds to feed. So it's a job that you're doing, and you signed up for it. And he could have signed certain things that at so-and-so time, is expected that I bring so-and-so number, is expected that I do so-and-so. He may not have met up to that expectation. And so the church administrative, which I have a problem with the tone of the letter, it just seemed so business-like. So I agree with Miriam on that. But they could have looked through what you signed to, what you're not doing again, and say, okay, it's time to let you go. You go back as a member. The thing we do is, because it's church and because it's God, we feel mediocre should be allowed. Everything should be, once it's God, don't worry, just use God and cover it. Excellence is very key. That church wouldn't have grown to that level if excellence is not applied. So if you are not performing, it's only natural that they say, okay, step down and do so and so till we can get you up.
If they had said, step down and then transfer you somewhere else, just like yourself, become a member, or join your church with another church, that may have been better. But outright, immediately, where the bucket with your family.
It's 40 pastors.
I heard, but we can't confirm that one. It's only one letter we've seen.
Okay.
We don't see the 40 letters.
He said he came to the meeting and there were about 30-something of them. According to what he said.
We are going based on what we saw in the letter. That one we can confirm.
So do you know how many pastors apply to work there as a pastor? Yes, they apply.
They call pastors.
I don't know. The Holy Spirit.
Go to this man.
I hear you.
There's a boy
under the rock, and then you open the rock.
I am not the Holy Spirit. I feel that a lot of pastors apply.
I don't know about application.
I feel that a lot of pastors apply.
I don't think so.
Because
in my church, no.
They ordain you now.
It's in steps. You first become a worker. If you become a worker, as you're working, you now grow, and you can become a deacon. From deaconess, they ordain you. They are officially ordained officially.
No.
From being a deacon, you become an AP, assistant pastor. Then the pastor level, they can be a parish pastor.
Yeah. So there are hierarchies.
There's a hierarchy.
I understand, but there's a part of the Holy Ghost,
which is
where the general overseer is sleeping, and he comes in his dream that there's this young man in the creeks of the Niger Delta talking to people and you need to go and get him and bring him to be here. So when you now have that kind of unctioning and Holy Spirit ministering to you, how do you make 40 of them? How do 40 of them go wrong?
And maybe they don't have the Holy Spirit anymore.
The church. So
we don't know.
I grew up schooling and educated by Catholics. The way I see it, you want to toe the path of God. You give your life to be a God's person. So this calling thing, the phone number, I don't know where it is.
If you are giving your life, Nima.
No, I'm just explaining my own experience with Christianity and the one I understand easily. Yeah. So when you are volunteered to give your life and you live a life of service to God, and which is what I practice as a Muslim because that's how I was raised, you must be given the opportunity to serve God. When a father, like we used to call them in Catholic Church, they move from parish to parish. Yes. And members provide accommodation in each parish. In fact, some people will say, no, our church never reached parish, so we need to upgrade. You will see members raising the monies that we know they will use to put the facility in place to achieve parish. Any other thing, I will raise questions.
So we're all guilty.
We're
all guilty. Because the truth is that we have gone away from what you just said to where we've left it to the church to administrate because they're the ones paying for the housing.
Yes.
We didn't know. We've left it to the church because the truth is, these people, the individual is in control of what you do.
The difference is the way with the Catholic Church is there's no general overseer who owns the church, who is running the business of the church. It is God's church. Yes. And then these people move from like my secondary school. My parish, the 2 parish priests that came from Ireland, different countries. And even their feeding was done by members of the church. So they give them the food.
If it's God's church, why does this pastor need to be paid?
That's my question.
That's what we're saying now.
That's why SEC must regulate. Karma must be.
Let me take Shay and I'll come to BC. Shay, are you there? Hello, Shay.
Yeah.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Thank you so much for this time. I just want to say a few things. You see, the Church of God cannot be run by one person. That is why they need pastors to assist as the church grows. That is number one. Number two is that when their pastors are assigned to particular duties or parishes, you see, leave them to do their bit as God enables them. Because these people are trying their best. Now, when you come to maybe members coming to church, or you go for evangelism, you want to grow a church, that individual cannot actually win the souls. It's the Holy Spirit that does the conviction that makes people come to church. So when you begin to give people targets, I see it as a misplaced priority, misplaced duties. And the reason why some of them go to voodoo is because when they discover that they can't meet up with this target, they begin to look for other means. They begin to look for other ways to cope. And
we want to find something to
back it.
You understand? So that is why the church has to be very, very careful. And that is why a lot of people these days, they find it difficult to go to church because they are taxed here, they are taxed there, they are guilty. And you see, this church grows and some of the members don't even get benefits from the church.
Thank you very much. Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying. We're still talking about this pastor that got sacked by Witness Chapel. Yes, Bishop, you're going to say something.
Yeah, so I wanted us to cast our minds back to when Christianity started. Christianity has, let me not use Christianity, let me use religion now, has evolved in such a way that there are now different denominations with different doctrines. So the way the Catholics would handle their secession, their hierarchy is different from the way the Pentecostals do. And what we've seen with the Pentecostals is more like a one-man business. So somebody is called and the person sets up and grows the church and then starts getting people to handle it as they spread across. So it's still run like a one-man show, even though it's God that has called this person. Because the person had that vision, we find that even when the person dies, it goes to the family member, either the wife or the children. So that's how the Pentecostal format has been. We can now start asking questions. Should this continue? Is this what they are called into? Where do you see service here? Yeah. So, but, with the other types or doctrines in Christianity where, Like, for instance, my father's church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, you are called and you're not paid. So you serve as a president of the church. And then when you grow old, you finish raising your kids, you say, okay, we want to go on a mission. You sell all of your property, and then you travel, go from town to preach. That is their own doctrine. So let's not pitch doctrine against doctrine if we do not understand.
Let me take this call from Worry. Ola, are you there?
Yes, I am.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I would like to start with a reference point from Ephesians chapter 4, verse 11. It says, and now these are the gifts of Christ, gifts to the church, the apostles, some the apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, and teachers. Now, the truth is that this is a gifting of God. So when you say you want to employ somebody that God has gifted something, how do you assess that thing? Now, if you want to do a business venture, you come with your credentials, you come with the things you've acquired. But this one now, God gives you. There's something they call the School of Mission in many Pentecostal churches. They raise missionaries. The missionaries go out, leave their everything, and face the work of God. And the church, in turn, takes care of their family. Now, in this case now, I attend a Pentecostal church. It is baseless to ask me to go about a spiritual thing and at the same time an economical thing. Those two things, they don't work hand in hand. The Bible says, in the days of his power, the people shall be willing. The apostles that started it, people freely gave. So when you commit a man to the spiritual things of God, and at the same time, you ask him to pursue the natural things of man, you can't form a balanced church.
Hello? I get your point. So, but I wanted to bring this conversation, I wanted to take it out of church. Because, guys, we're in Nigeria, state of insecurity. We're not like other Western countries that have some level of development. The question is, should church targets, expansion be our focus? That's what people are saying. That, listen, we are talking about businesses, church is this, they sacked him, they didn't sack him. Is that what we should be focusing on as a country? Churches are saying we have a target of 10,000 more parishes. And that church is saying another 10,000. Is that what we should be focusing? Should the church not redirect resources, redirect focus to development, manufacturing? Should this pastor not have been trained and raised to actually run a company? I mean, this what we... The point is that, where are we in this country? Let us wake up. Let us wake up and smell the coffee. We're not there yet. So should we redirect our conversation? That's really the question.
I think government and attempts of government or our legislators have been on track. So we are also a very poor nation. We're trying to diversify our economy. We're trying to do a lot of things, and we're trying to capture taxes and funds that are freely given.
Yes.
We open our eyes and we see the amount of funds that are excused in the name of God and calling in certain places. Of course, government's business also is to find out. In the olden days, why these things I would easily have supported is because most religious houses were charity-driven. They built schools, they paid teachers, they provided hostels, they assisted government in a lot of ways. Government was based on religious foundations in most places, but we are far, far gone from that place now. Why are you looking at my money? Is it your money? Is it your calling? And all of those kind of things. So now regulation must be in place.
Okay, let me take Bishop, then I'll come to Mary. Bishop, are you there? Oh, Joshua, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Please, I want to comment on this pastor.
Yes, go ahead.
The truth of the matter is that, like the bankers, like these marketing people in the banking sector that we used to know before, now because of the outrageous kind of target they were given, most of them, which were women, went into prostitution because they want to meet their target. And now if churches begin to put targets, or if churches begin to put targets on their pastors, what do you expect these pastors to do in order to maintain their position as those pastors? Now, what they will do now is to start getting diabolic in order to do that, which is, winning of souls and things like that. No wonder you see them going from places where they're trying by force to win souls just because they want to maintain their performance in there.
Thank you. So I'm coming to you, Mariam. Well, the question I asked, should churches redirect our focus? Should religious bodies generally redirect focus? Like all this expansion or expanding, it hasn't really gotten us far as a people. Can we redirect our resources, our manpower, our performance growth index to be establishing more charitable organizations to help and support the society?
We do. So recently I told you about my children. They go to this place on Saturdays where they're learning about God and they're learning other skills. And it's Catholic-based. And they're volunteers. It's non-profit. You bring your child in a safe environment and they're learning so many skills as well as studying. They even have mentors, study partners and things like that. And that is where I feel church should be looking towards. This is our own peculiar local problem. It's nice to have churches, beautiful churches, dotted here and there all over the country. It's good to have that. But for the Nigeria of today, just like the way we call out rich people when they're spending a lot of money, it's their money in a certain way, but we're asking everybody in Nigeria, let's redirect our thoughts. Let's all put our hearts together and see what we can do for our country at this time. What does our country need more from the church today? Is it more parishes or more impactful parishes? Is it pastors that are able to just get as many people to come and be paying tithes? Or a pastor that's able to affect lives business-wise in their farms and things like that? Something just clicked to me. This pastor is in Benue State. Although he alleges that there were about 40 of them. I mean, we talk about Benue State in the papers all the time. All that's happening. Who knows if all the insecurity, the farmers' headers clash is affecting people getting to churches, putting monies in churches. Do you understand? So the times that we're in now is not about just making money, expansion. We need pastors that are able to change the mindset of people. First of all, we need to think as one. We need to think about hard work. We need to think about, improving ourselves. So that is where we should redirect.
Let me take this call from Fortune. Fortune, are you there? Hello, Fortune.
Yeah, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, this is a very important issue that has to do with a particular church, and in this case, the Winners Chapel. If I have to say anything, the much I have seen about your view, is so that when there is an issue of public importance, the people involved are invited to come and say something. And so in this case, I would have expected a situation where one of the leaders of Winners Chapel or the people involved in this whole stuff should be invited to come and tell the world exactly what happened. I'm sure that a lot will be explained if that is done. And we will truly get a clearer picture of what is really involved.
Thank you, Fortune. The truth is that we don't necessarily have to force the church to defend itself. There's only so much, and when you invite someone, you can't force them to come to the show. You can only invite. And if they say, I don't want to come, you can't force anybody. Right. But the truth is that I don't necessarily think we want to try to get anybody to defend. We're not putting Winners Chapel on the focus. We're talking about churches, religious bodies in general. So we take it away from the issue and then bring out the problem and see if we can now have that conversation around the societal issue. Yes?
Yeah, so I was going to say that we should not shift responsibilities to people who are not meant to handle those responsibilities. The government has its prerogative, which is to create jobs for their people. The church is a place that serves as hope. Imagine if there were no churches today, and these people who are still hoping that God will help them in their businesses and their careers have nowhere to go to cry out for that hope. What will we become? So it's the church's prerogative, and it's very unfair to say that they should direct their focus. Most of the big churches I know have very big schools. They give out scholarships. The news does not capture all of this. During the COVID-19, some of them were taking their private jets to go donate COVID relief materials. They have foundations that they support people. They have children who are not able to attend schools but are very brilliant. They write exams. They give them scholarships. They follow them up to the university. We have a lot of members who are staff of that institution who work in their schools in different capacities. I have a family member who is a doctor. She's a professor of mathematics. She works there. It was the school that gave her employment. So if you have a good credential, you have done your best and you are good enough, you are employed to work. For quality education, fine. The education is quite expensive because the truth is if you want quality education, it would be expensive. But there are members who do not pay a dime, who qualify to attend those schools. So the churches are doing what they're supposed to do. Changing the focus of a place, first of all, lies on the leadership of that place. Then you put measures in place, you put policies to streamline these churches so that you can't be having churches, mushroom churches everywhere around. When you're sanctioned, when you're checked, you will reduce the amount of churches you will be bringing up. That is the job of the government, to put those policies and systems in place. Otherwise, you will not tell somebody how to run and give hope to the people.
Okay, let me take it.
I hear this argument. I just don't completely agree with it because many people would tell you that their foundation, many people that grew up with
civilization
nothing will tell you they grew up from nothing. Thank God for the village church and the village education that came from that. Thank God for the volunteers from church that made sure that community, they didn't get anything from government, but the church, the church community made sure that their children were educated. That's what we're saying. We understand what you are meant to do, but I feel that the church, when the church first came out, the church came out as we're here to help people spiritually to find God and also to build them, and in education, in work. But to also compare and say, oh, they build schools. We are talking. When we are talking about those schools, we are talking about very expensive schools.
Because
she has brought into the conversation very expensive schools that even members of the church cannot afford. So those are things that my own is that we need to let's tell ourselves the truth. This is the Nigeria we're in right now. There's no government from above. There's no savior apart from us. We need to look at it. Sometimes, you know how you're in a family, you have a father. The father is meant to do this. Father is meant to... When the father does not show up, the mother will show up. The children will show up. So that is where we are now. We need to show up. Find a way to show up.
All right, let me take this call from Michael. Michael, are you there?
Yes, I am.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I have a very short view about all this. It is some of these pastors, they are not equipped with enough knowledge to generate revenue. Some of them probably may have read a particular course, but they need the pastor to be an accountant. They need the pastor to be an engineer if there's a problem in the church. So if there's a way that they can be trained in such a way that they can manage funds, because managing funds is a different ball game. Sometimes you need some formal training to be an accountant, to be able to manage funds, to generate funds. So if they can have an administrative aspect in the church that can manage this, how funds are invested, how they are generated, then the pastor can be more focused in doing pastoral duties.
Thank you very much, Michael. Do we have some messages, Nima?
We do. We have messages. Christiana says, from the letter, it didn't sound to me like it was a money issue. However, I think that the pastor should have been disciplined and not sacked. They should have trained him into bearing the kind of fruits they want. On the other hand, for him coming to social media to blow, it means he has a character problem. I don't agree.
Can I just add? That's where I wanted us to go. You know, you had mentioned, where should people in church, when they are grieved, where should they go? And I just wanted to say that that's such an important question because many things happen in church and a lot of people will just hear backbiting. And most of the things we hear, like for Pentecostal churches, is that the person goes on and opens his own church and almost waters down, that particular doctrine or something. But also, people have brought the spotlight on churches because they have spoken out. The Catholic Church, there used to be lots of talk about abuse of children in that place, and a lot of things were put shut down, because it's a church matter. You are not allowed to speak about it. So sometimes when there are injustices happening, it does not matter where it is. We need to be able to speak up. I'm just saying, not this particular case, but just in the church. What we would like to do is let the church handle it. But if it's something that is so serious and so bad, please let us speak up.
So when you say speak up, I like us to, as we're coasting home now, we need to be very clear. Yeah. So we don't go to social media. We're saying that's a no-no. But where else do you go? Do you call the church elders and say, I was sacked too? What happened? And they have a meeting. Is there a way to address these kind of grievances within the church system? And even the Muslims,
legal system.
Yeah, you can go to court. Yes, so that man should have taken his matter to court.
If he was called by God, he would take it to God. But if he was appointed by a contract and he can be sacked, he would take it to court.
Exactly. So that man should. Thank you very much.
I would say that every church has its organization and their leaders. So, for instance, if something happens in your organization, you don't first of all go on social media to cry out. You call somebody, you go to maybe your supervisor, you go to your MD, you just speak and find ways to handle the issue. So there are church elders, there are people who sit in council, who attend to some of these issues. You could have just gone there to tell them this exactly is what is happening and find ways to, but bringing it out on social media is just like, they've done me, Abi, let me do them back. That's how it seems, yes. Because everything these days that happen, everybody just goes on social media. They don't want to hear me, Abi, let me do my own. Yes. Which media? Which media?
Okay, went to a newspaper.
I saw the video on social media.
Sometimes social media will not capture you in your backyard doing something.
So I think because it's a spiritual issue, I think
you cannot be spiritual again.
Well, it's
so we have to wrap up. But I like the way you had broken it down. Business, spirit, and politics together. There are three different arms of the religious bodies now. So there's a spiritual person. So if God called you and God ministered to the pastor to bring you as a pastor, and you're now ministering, he cannot sack you because he didn't bring you through a letter. But if you're employed as a business, as a church pastor, that you got an employment letter, these are your deliverables, you can be sacked. The political angle, I don't know what that one is, but
political angle. Sometimes you put a pastor and he's doing so well, you're afraid that he will now come and be more popular than GO. Now send him to the village.
So that's the political angle. So if you fall in any of these angles, I mean, where do you have to take your grievances to? I don't know. If you're in the middle, go to court. If you're in the right hand, the one with God, go to God. Political, I don't know.
Political too.
Social media.
That's all we can take on the show, guys. Thank you, ladies. It's always a pleasure talking to you on this stuff. Have a lovely day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.